Hello, welcome back to I Got Board Game. It's Friday! Friday! Uh, so back to doing this on Friday this week. Thank goodness. And so today, hopefully gonna have a shorter review of a simpler game.
Better be shorter.
Yeah, I would really hope so. But I mean, we'll still have some interesting things to talk about. A little bit. So, but the game, which is very different from stuff we've gone over, which we try to do, right? We're trying to switch up the different kinds of games. So today we are reviewing, John.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Snow White.
Not quite. Actually, it is Bling Bling Gemstone.
Bling Bling Gemstone. Look at all that Korean. Gemstone.
A bling, a gemstone.
The... Oh,
Somewhere.
no, it's here.
Oh, there we go.
Bling. Oh yeah, so we're reviewing Bling Bling Gemstone, which is a game that came out in 2012, probably, I mean, either in the US or Korea at that time. And then my version, as you saw, is a limited edition Kickstarter version. Only, I guess, 500 were kind of produced, brought over during the, I think it's Mayday Games Kickstarter that did this. Back in 2013 around 2013-14, and it plays up 2 to 7 players, but you'll see that you could probably play with more players and it doesn't really matter. And it cost me around $30, which you can determine if that's worth it or not after you hear about the game. It is actually a Bling Bling Gemstone is a re-implementation of another one you might actually see in game stores specifically, Click Clack Lumberjack and Talk Talk Woodsman. Those are all names of the same game that came before Bling Bling Gemstone, but essentially plays the same, different theme, different coloring. But okay, so to get started, I will do a quick rules explanation, which probably will include all the rules of the game because it's that simple. So let me share, where is it? Okay, so let me share my screen and just do very quick rules for the game. There's a photo of the game setup. And the whole theme is basically your miners mining for gems. And you want the most points. And it's a dexterity game. You're using a pickaxe to hit these pillars to knock the gems off. And so the way you set up the game is there's all these circular pillar pieces that then the gem pieces can slot into. And so you have to just take all the gem pieces, and there's 4 gems on each pillar piece. So you just slot them in. Only rule is that you can't have 3 or 4 of the same color. And so there are 3 different color pieces, clear, pink, and red. So you slot them onto the side of a pillar piece and you stack it onto this base. And you do that for all the pillar pieces till you make a whole pillar with different colored gems on the side. And then you choose the first player. And the first player, or basically the way each turn's going to go, is the player gets to take the pickaxe and gets 2 swings of the pickaxe to knock gems off of the pillars. And so for each gem you knock off, you basically collect them and keep them in front of you as points. Clear ones are worth 1 point, pink ones are 2, red ones are 3 points. But you want to not knock off the pillar pieces themselves, because if you actually knock one off of the pillar and it drops to the bottom, it's actually negative 10 points for you. And so
Per piece.
Yeah, per pillar piece. So you want to basically be dexterous and knock it in a way that has the gems fall off, but not the actual pillar piece from the pillar. So you get 2 swings. You can swing however you want, whatever side of the pillar piece. And then you pass that to the next player clockwise, and then they can go take their 2 swings. And the game goes until all the gem pieces are off, whether from people knocking off 4 points, or because they knocked the whole pillar piece off and all the gems also came off that way. And yeah, so it goes until all the gem pieces are off. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. That was it. That was the whole game. So very simple. And so we'll start with the pros. John.
Wait, do we want to talk about the promo axe piece?
Oh yeah. Okay. So the thing that I
other
also got with my Kickstarter version, I don't know. I think it might be a promo you could buy separately if you like go to the Board Game Geek store or something like somewhere like that with board game promos. There's a Golden Axe promo expansion.
Golden axe.
And so the way this works is instead of using the pickaxe on a player's turn, they can choose to use the golden axe to hit the pillar, and they only get one swing with it, but any pieces they knock off are worth double points if they knock it off, which it might include pillar pieces.
I don't know about that.
I
That
don't
might
actually
be
remember.
true. That might be true.
I think that might be true. But I mean, actually, yeah, I don't actually see the rules for this axe here right now. So I think when I first played it, yeah, I doubled everything. But you can kind of house rule it however you want. Gem pieces are the only ones that double, maybe not pillar pieces. Sure.
Let's just say it's a ×2 multiplier. Doesn't matter which direction.
Yeah, so you either get 2 swings with the pickaxe or 1 swing with the golden axe that doubles the points of things that get knocked off that turn. So yeah, there you go. That is the promo expansion. So John, the pros to this
impressions. It is a ridiculously hilarious game. I mean, obviously, it's not a strategy game in any way, shape, or form. It is point collection, but this game is definitely all about dexterity, right? So this is definitely a dexterity game where the focus of the game is how well can you hit the blocks, or how well can you hit these stacked tower pieces to knock the gems off. So one of the nice things when playing the game, I think when you hear the game, it just seems really simple, obviously very simple in concept, and it seems like, oh, isn't it just really easy to just knock things off? So the nice thing about it is the components actually feel pretty weighty in the sense of if you just tap it with the pick or the axe or whatever, it's not going to move, right? So it's just like if you very lightly tap things, it's not going to do anything. So you have to put like force behind it. Obviously, you're not taking full swings at it because it wouldn't be much of a game. But so there's a level of control required in how you're swinging the pickaxe to knock it over. So you're probably thinking this, Ben was going to mention, but I'm going to take his thunder by saying, this is very akin to Jenga in the sense of like Jenga has a similar
what's Jenga?
sense. Huh?
What's Jenga?
Yes. It is a game. No, like Jenga, where basically it's a similar concept of a tower that you don't want to knock over, right? In this game, you don't really want to knock these things over. But in Jenga, you have kind of as much time as you want to manipulate and move it. People do house rules, of course, but the base game, right? You can pretty much just, take your time in trying to wiggle a piece out. But in this game, you are limited because as soon as the pickaxe hits or touches, right, the tower, we count that as one swing, right? Or one, act. And then you do it again the second time, and then that's it. You don't get to like keep wiggling and like stop for a bit and kind of see how the tower is positioned and try to re-wiggle again as you're trying to get it out. So so that's fun. The components look really nice.
Already jumping to that. I mean, I would say the simple way to think of the game is reverse Jenga, right? Where you do mention, obviously, it's also you don't want to knock it over, but I would say the bigger idea is you want to knock things off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it is kind of reverse Jenga that way, but then there obviously is a restriction that it's not completely reverse Jenga where you just like, everything off, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's like, you have to be restrained and knock certain things off and not everything. And so I think that's a simple way to think of the game. And yeah, like Jenga, it's all kind of, I mean, I always like joking about like the physics of the game and the gravity, which is true, right? That's all it really is, like of your force of your hit, of where you're hitting in the pillar because of the weight and the gravity, just like in Jenga, right? And so yeah, if it isn't clear from John's picture too, with the components, that when you're stacking and setting up the game with the pillars, there's no like divots or something that like make them slot into each other so that they stay together. It's literally just the friction and physics of them lying on top of each other that keeps them there. And so similar to Jenga, right? The blocks don't have little points that connect into another socket that keep them in a certain position. It's just the gravity pushing them down on each other that keeps them there until enough force pushes them out. So that's how the components are. And I think it is well made, right? It's obviously just simple plastic molded pieces, but it is I mean, it is well done for what it is. And it's more like, do you like what it is? I think, like you were saying, I mean, actually, I would say one pro compared to Click Clack Lumberjack, which is basically, the pieces will look basically all the same, except the inside will be like a tan color, like the inside of a tree, and then the gem pieces are like brown bark on the tree.
Different colored bark.
Yeah. Or actually, so the original is like, there's no different colors, so it's all just the same. So Bling Bling Gemstone has a little edge coming after Click Clack Lumberjack, that the gems are different colors, so they can be scored for different points, which is, maybe that's a little bit of strategy. You can think of what you want to go for, and if it's really worth it.
That is true. And kind of going into a little bit of the strategy of this game, if anything, there are certain situations in which when you're hitting things, you may actually want to be hitting things to reposition the tower itself, right? Because there just might be some really bad hits, or the tower is in such a way that it's like, if you try to get anything off at this point, you're going to be knocking off the centerpieces. And because they're minus 10 points, and the way that scoring works is, and they did that cleverly, because you can't have more than 2 of the same color on it. So the maximum colors together would be red, pink, I think, which is 3322. So the maximum value of that specific section could have is 10. So at net it's 0 if you dropped it, but that would be assuming it's only at the very top, and you knock that one off immediately. That's just straight 0 value. So basically any other tower as you're hitting it off, if you knock over more than one kind of column piece, like, you're screwed point wise, or it's definitely going to hurt you a lot.
And actually, something interesting I just thought of too was like something you'll experience when you're playing that's also kind of like reverse Jenga, basically like the reverse physics. It's like in Jenga, you might try to pull out, like, that if you pull out a block on this side, the tower will be inclined to lean toward that way, right? But then what you'll notice in this game is sometimes if you hit this way, sure, the tower might lean towards you, but basically the gem pieces that come off are probably on the backside of the pillar that you hit. Which is, it's an interesting small thing you realize when you start playing. Just like, oh, I'm gonna hit the piece I want, but that's not how it works. The piece doesn't break off of the pillar piece when you hit it. It needs to slide out of its slot, right? So then you're hitting on the right side to have the gem on the left side of that piece fall off. So just
unless you're an anime character that knows how to hit the exact pressure point to break the rock on the inside. No, just kidding.
So yeah, I mean, I can't think of much else. I mean, it's thematic, right? You're just mining. You're literally kind of mining, and the pieces.
Okay, so if we're moving into cons, sort of cons at this point, kind of what you were saying though is kind of intuitively weird, right? So as you were saying, like the intuitive piece of when you're mining, right, or like in real life, if someone were mining, you are mining on the exact spot of the types of things you want to take out. I guess technically you're not hitting directly on the gem that you want to get, because you don't want to hit the gems you're trying to collect when you're harvesting, right? Well, I'm not a miner, so any miners out there who are watching our video, you can tell me otherwise. But my understanding is that typically, you're not, like, especially if you can find like a more pure ore or element, you tend to try to want to mine around it, or you want to mine in a way that lets you get it. So I guess technically in this game, because it's the opposite side dropping out. It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
But
that's true. That's true.
but it's also, when do you have a tower of gems sitting in the middle of nowhere that you're mining at? So maybe it's just this world's lore, and I just don't know this world's lore.
Yeah, you don't know, John. You never mined from a pillar. Maybe
That
you
is
mined
true.
from some cave wall, but not a pillar.
I know, so maybe I'm wrong on that one.
Cons. I think. Well, I do think. I don't know. Actually, I don't have much cons. It's really just more like, I guess the con I would think of is it's just dexterity, right? Basically, kind of like the issue with Jenga, right? Where it's like it's literally just that one action over and over, and it's not even like a thinking action of like, you have different cards you could play on your turn or something. It's literally you're gonna be swinging, or in Jenga you're gonna be pulling. So then you do that, and that's it. And so it's not in that way like after the first play or so and your laughs and stuff, it's not a real like sophisticated dexterity game, right? With other things going on. Like I think of immediately like flip ships, which is one we might review, where you're flipping tokens that are ships, trying to land it on alien ships to attack them. And there's like different abilities when you do land or don't land. And so, and upgrades to your ship. So that has like other things to it. I also think of Dungeon Fighter, which is actually on Kickstarter again right now. But Dungeon Fighter is a fun dice throwing one where you're fighting your fantasy adventurers going through a dungeon, fighting monsters, but you're attacking them by throwing dice at a target board. And where you land is like how much damage you'll do, and there's different special abilities, or the monsters have abilities that make you have to throw it weirdly, like with an eye closed or with your offhand or under
Over
the leg.
shoulder.
Yeah, like that. So weird stuff like that, which makes it also funny. There's none of that to this game. It's literally just how much you can build up with your friends, the humor and fun of knocking on some pillar.
If you're a drinker, if you drink in parties and stuff, this is very much a game that you'd probably play as a drinking party game. So.
And I would say actually, depending on how well you're willing to play the game or try at this game, setup could take longer than the actual playing.
That is also true. That is true.
Because it is a little tricky to actually put the gems into the side of a pillar slot piece, and then you have to actually pick it up all together and stack it. Where some people don't realize that in the beginning, they're like sliding in a gem, and then they pick up the pillar, and the gem slides out, and like, how do I stack it?
Yep.
That's a small con. The setup is a
I
little.
guess technically a way you can get around it is if you stack them all straight up.
Yeah, and then start sliding gem
start
pieces.
sliding them down. But then the problem is the pillars don't stay together. So even if they're slightly off, then it just stops.
It'll get stuck.
As the friction hits, which is, in a sense, what we're saying is actually good design in the sense of how they built the components, because that means the friction is working correctly as intended, and it doesn't mean everything's going to slide off at once. But it's also really annoying for setting up.
So that's a con. Setup could take longer than it takes to play and knock it down, basically.
But building great things has always taken much longer than the destructive forces of
You're trying to defend this with that? Argue my con? Okay.
No, I was just using a philosophical quote to accompany the destruction, the speed of destruction.
So I think those are the pros and cons we can think of. I really don't aside from setup, again, I should probably say these earlier in the video, but production wise, I think it's well produced, right? It's like it's not like a super hard box, but it's light cardboard, has nice artwork on it. It's designed for what it's for, right? A game with light pieces.
Yeah, it actually has a good tray. That's right.
Yeah, the tray fits everything well, right? A bag with the gems, the base, all the pillar pieces, and a slot for the pickaxe. So it's just very functional, bare bones. I don't need something that's like super like sturdy, clicks pieces into place to hold it. Like it's just a really light game and physically light to pack together and carry away.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it's well produced for what it is, such a light game. And
Yep.
so with that, we will get on to our ratings, and John guesses the weight.
Wait.
Wait.
So let's see. I would say rating wise.
I think mine might be different from yours. Hopefully.
I'm gonna say a 6.5 on this game.
Oh, okay.
Mainly because it is very much of a Jenga style game. Very much of a this is such a casual game. This is even more casual than that strike game we talked about the last time we talked or reviewed.
Yeah, you wanted to
Also a
compare the
very light
two, huh?
game.
You wanted to compare the two before this video. You were
Yeah,
saying,
yeah. And I think in my mindset, technically, while this game has more general rules, I feel like, than Strike does, because Strike is literally just dice rolling, and that's really all it is, and choosing to continue dice rolling or not. That this game is really just hitting some gems to knock them off of a pillar. That's literally the entire game.
I would say that's an interesting comparison with Strike, though, is that it's like, what do you enjoy more, right? Rolling dice or dexterity hitting something? And I think Strike is more, I mean, this isn't to change your rating, but I think Strike is more exciting because of the chance.
Yes.
Right.
And that's
Where with a pure dexterity game like this, it really comes down to just how good are you? How dexterous are you? That's all it is.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say too in this game. Really, it is just motor control in how one is hitting and one of just hits the thing, right? So, and that's all the game is about, right? It's similar to the idea of Jenga, right? How entranced are people really when they play Jenga? Not really, right? Like you can have lots of side casual, like it's a bar game. A lot of times people are having like casual side conversations along while they're egging people on as they're doing the moves. But it's not really because it's like strategic or anything like that. It's more because people just want to make fun of the person to see them fail. That's really the objective of that kind of game. This game almost has that similar feeling. It is more exciting when you see somebody knock something off that they didn't want to, especially those middle pieces. I think that's where you really get the fun. And that's why I put it at a 6.5, because I'm like, I don't know if I'd really want to play this lots and lots. I might even go lower if I keep talking, but we'll leave it at a 6.5 right now.
Actually, a good point that came to mind too. I mean, I should have thought about this more before we did this because we thought it was such a simple game. But there's that excitement when someone knocks something off, and then that's how do I say it? Just because something gets knocked off doesn't mean the game is over. Unlike Jenga, right? Where Jenga is like once it falls, then it's over, right? And that is kind of like a big exciting part. And I guess maybe the excitement of Jenga is more of, can you survive each round, right? Where in this one, it's like, I guess there's that surviving each round, but then also when something gets knocked over, it's exciting, but it's also not over yet. So the game is still going and it has more of those moments than I say maybe Jenga does.
Yeah.
A little plus, I just thought of. But anyway.
That's why it's a 6.5, and I'll leave it at that. And then weight-wise,
yes.
let's say a 0.5.
0.5? Come on. Okay.
It's 0.5. So light. I mean, like,
okay,
man,
so my score...
I'm going to say 0.5 because I'm like, what is there to this game? You're literally just hitting blocks.
There's different colored blocks.
Yeah, different colored blocks, but they're still blocks. That
I mean, like, what would you give, like, Click Clack
Like, I
Lumberjack?
feel like a 5-year-old can understand this game. So if a 5-year-old can understand this game, this is a 0.5.
Okay, my score is different from yours, actually, and I think I know why.
You put a 10.
I gave it a 5.
Oh,
your score is actually the actual score, average score. I gave it a 5 just because, I mean, I think all the same reasons that we're probably both thinking and sharing. But I think it's because we differ because I'm going off of actually the board game geek scale, where 5 means take it or leave it. And that's really how I think of the game. Like, it's not, before this, I was saying I might change my rating, right? And I was thinking of going lower, but a 4 is not so good, but could play again. I don't feel like it's bad, you know? And like, even from what I was describing, I think like production wise for what it is, it's good and so solid. But like, because of what it is, I can't give it higher score. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
kind of like if you had like the fanciest version of Jenga, it's still just Jenga, you know? And that's kind of how I feel about this, where it's like, yeah, take it or leave it. If you want a game like this where you get to swing at something but need to be kind of restrained and just practice that dexterity, and also a plus, have as many players as you want because you're just passing the pickaxe around.
Yeah.
Like, sure, this is fine. Am I gonna want to play this often? Probably not. Like, I do see a little charm of it being like a kid's game, right? So
Yeah.
if I have
Yeah.
kids in the future, or even my friends have kids over, it's something they can easily like learn and try out,
Mhm.
you know? So I think that's a little appeal of it. But for me, nah, not a game that I'm gonna keep playing. I mean, I have it for those kind of cases, right? Of when there's kids or someone wants to try something super simple and goofy. But that's about it. So I give it a 5, take it or leave it. And the weight is 1.09, John.
It should be 0.5.
You're so
Do they even go under 1 in
you're
this
so
rating scale?
you know what? Let's actually just check Jenga.
I was gonna say, if they actually do they actually go under the weight of 1?
Oh man, Jenga's more complex. What?
How is Jenga more complex?
That's a little interesting. But the rating is lower though. Haha, Jenga.
uh,
I actually don't know if it goes on. It should. It should somewhere.
maybe.
No idea.
Well, I guess I'm kind of right if it can't go lower than a 1. So.
You're still not getting a free copy of this game, John.
Though I did nail. Well, okay, so while I nailed the rating, I still am thinking about dropping my rating down to a 6.
Why? Why? Is it because you saw my score?
No, I mean, right before, even when we were talking right before you shared yours, I was already thinking about dropping mine down to a 6 because I
Well,
was
a
like,
6 would mean
man,
okay, we'll play if in the mood. I mean, that's
I'm
understandable.
not even sure if I'll do that. But all
I
right,
mean, are you ever in the mood for Bling Bling Gemstone? You're in the mood to say Bling Bling Gemstone.
yeah, it's more fun to make fun of the game and say the name of the game than it is to play the game. If I have 10 or 20 minutes, I'm gonna go to another game that we can play in 10 or 20 minutes, like
Man, it doesn't
Strike
take
or
20
something
minutes though.
else.
I'm pretty sure the game would take like 5-10 minutes.
Well, I mean, I think the 20 minutes is probably if you have 7 players or 6 players. Right?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
anyway,
Okay, so a 5 from me and a what do you
6.5.
6.5 from John.
Officially 6.5. Unofficially, I think I'm dropping it to 6.
Okay, we'll say a 5 from me, a 6 from John
Yeah.
for Bling Bling Gemstone. I mean, 6.5 though, average on Board Game Geek.
I mean, as it kind of shows here, age 4 plus, right? This is definitely a game tailored toward younger audiences. This is not.
Yeah, the picture of the kids playing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
No, there's a
And
grown up. There's a grown up.
then that guy with the giant life-size version.
That's true. That's interesting. But anyways, so yeah, that's our review of Bling Bling Gemstone. If you found this helpful, hope you'll share this with your friends. I don't know if you can get a copy of this game, but you could probably still get Click Clack Lumberjack or Talk Talk Woodsman from, I think, Mayday Games, like either their website or maybe at like a actual game store, specialty game store, they'll have that game. But yeah, hope you'll share this video, and until next time, we'll see you then. Bye.